Welcome back to the United America Project. I'm your host, Bobby Bomani, co-founder of the United America Project and founder of Community Link. This movement only has one agenda, and that's to unite America, take back the world. Follow me. All right, so today we're going to be talking about this Defund the Police movement. Oh, Janosha. Our poor children, right? So we're going to talk about where this movement is coming from, where this movement is leading, what their actual goal is, and as always, how to fix it, how to change this. There are some valid points being brought up that we can and will address. This is the perfect time to change everything. So let's get started. All right, so we see this movement that is sweeping across the nation, a call to defund the police. We see that, they have a supermajority in the city council in Indianapolis, so they definitely voted to defund the police, which it isn't that easy. They can't just defund the police that easy and that quickly, but they're all for it. And now what we see is Antifa. They just took over a 6 square block radius in Seattle, Washington. But what we actually see is it was given to them. They didn't take it over. Okay, just like in Minneapolis, where their police abandoned their precinct, and look at the fact that both of these cities are Democrat-run cities. Okay, this is the Democrat agenda, leftist agenda, all being orchestrated. But in Minneapolis, they have MRAPs. They have these, microwave guns on the top of turrets, on the top of the trucks. They can disperse crowds really easy. So a crowd of people with cell phones, they can't take over a precinct. Just isn't that easy. Our country is not that unsecure. It's not at all. So what we see in Seattle, Washington, is that the police left. The police, abandoned the precinct. The protesters didn't take it over. They actually just abandoned it. So let's go ahead real quick and read an article that Carmen Best, their police chief, she gives a very telling statement of what exactly happened. Now, we're being told that these protesters took over. But let's hear what she said. She's the one who gave the final order. So this is an article from the City Journal in Seattle. And it says, in a stunning turn of events, the city of Seattle made the decision, the city of Seattle made the decision to abandon the East Precinct and surrender the neighborhood to protesters. This is what Carmen Best said. This is an exercise in trust and de-escalation. Okay, this is an exercise in trust and de-escalation. So what we're seeing is this is how you create a socialist nation. This is how you create a socialist takeover. This is how you create a revolution. It has to come from both sides, top and bottom. We've seen, Ilhan Omar, Ocasio-Cortez, these women get to office and start instantly pushing these far left radical agendas, such as the Green New Deal. But if you look behind the scenes, what you'll see is the Green New Deal was written long before AOC came in, before Ilhan came in, because they were actually chosen through a casting call by an organization called the Justice Democrats. Okay, they already had this far left agenda planned out, but they didn't have the faces or the people in Congress to push it. So that's why they went and found minorities that can actually push this agenda. Okay, so what they did was they got this far left element into our government. It's in our judges. Donald Trump has been fighting with it in the Ninth Circuit since he got into office, which is a good thing. This is how our checks and balances of our system work. We don't want one side to ever just have all the power and be able to do what they want. So it's a good system, but this is all orchestrated. So it's in our government, and then you need the foot soldiers. That's where you get these college don't know much. They're very young, between the ages of probably everybody out there is probably 16 to 25. So they're just following orders. They don't actually know what's going on. They know that they want change. They know that they see problems that they wish to address. They don't know how to address them or how to change them or how to fix them, so they're just following. But they've been taught in these colleges this far left ideology, this Marxist ideology. And so what we've been seeing over the past couple of years, which has been absolutely insane to watch, it's been funny when it's been on YouTube and in the colleges, but now it's spilled out onto the streets. What we've been seeing is people, YouTubers, they would go to colleges and they would ask questions like they would get a quote from Obama about immigration, and they would say that Donald Trump said it. And the children would instantly, oh, that's the most racist thing I've ever heard. How could he say that? Like, that's why he shouldn't be president. And then they would show them that it's actually Obama saying the quote. And they would show them the actual clip of Obama saying exactly that. And they would just sit there like, oh, because they're just following. They react not off of logic and understanding, but off of this is the enemy, this is the friend. The friend, no matter how bad he is or what he does, he's the friend. The enemy, no matter how good he does or what he does, he's the enemy. That's what they're reacting to. They've just chosen a side. And so that's what we see. And we have to keep that in mind right now. Okay? Because these are our children. This is in large part our fault for giving our children up to the school system and not questioning the teachers and not actually figuring out what they're being taught, not disciplining them, not actually raising them up in our image, but just allowing them to be raised however they like. This is what you get, okay? So we see this movement coming down, and we see everything going haywire within this movement already, because these people at the bottom, the foot soldiers, they have no idea what they're doing. It's the ones up top who are creating these laws right now in this time. They just passed, or they're trying to pass a huge bill on police reform. Okay, no one's looking at what they're putting in those bills. The foot soldiers are just a distraction. They're just to cause pressure from the ground while the laws come down from up top. Okay, if you look at these camps, everybody's laughing at it. Like, they have no clue what they're doing. They almost descended into chaos. I think a night ago, there was a guy who they accused of stealing someone's cell phone, and he didn't steal it. The lady who thought he stole it had just put it somewhere else. And so they all surrounded him, and the guy had a bat, and he was like, do you want me to start hitting them? Like, do you guys want to? And long story short, they end up finding out that she had just misplaced her phone. But this is mob rule. This is why in our government, we have something called innocent to proven guilty, and then we have, a trial, and you're able to be judged by your peers through the court of law. And it isn't perfect because of us. We are the imperfect part in all the systems on this earth. That's why socialism won't work. It's because of us, because of our imperfections. So the system, we have the best system in the world that addresses our imperfections, but it's up to us to refine this system. So we're seeing that as this movement to defund the police is pushed up top, the ones up top, they're not looking to defund the police, they're looking to change it. They're looking to put a different group of policemen in there. They're just looking to get rid of these police officers and create a different police force, a force that believes in their leftist ideology of no Second Amendment, no First Amendment. They're trying to change our system. Okay, don't forget that the people at the bottom, they're just a distraction. Remember, this started off as Black Lives Matter, fighting for the death of George Floyd. Now we're talking about changing the laws to defund the police. Not find a way to get better policemen in, not find a way to get policemen from within our communities in, but to defund the police and to send that money somewhere else that these people get to dictate that we have no say in. So we just give them our power because someone in their Democrat-controlled city did something malicious. We can go very deep into what could have happened and what, but we're not. We're going to just talk about the solutions. So right now, what we're looking at is a time where an ideology is taking over our children. Okay? But the plan that they're following, we all see, is leading us absolutely nowhere. So we can't fight our children physically. We have to fight them mentally. We have to change this ideology that is convincing them that socialism is a better system. We can see it right now in Seattle, Washington. You know, the crime rate went up, spiked 3 times. And I'll show you guys a video in a second. That's exactly why Carmen Best, the police chief, now wants to come back into the city and reopen the precinct, because they gave it to him in an exercise of de-escalation, and now they see crime rates are just skyrocketing, because a utopia doesn't work with imperfect humans. It just doesn't. Without the law, we descend into chaos. So we have to fight them with our ideology.
Police Chief Carmen Best, who said that it's de-escalation giving up the city, said that 911 calls from the area relating to assault, robbery, and sex crimes have more than tripled in the last 24 hours. Check this out.
Seattle's police chief and some officers just returned to the East Precinct on Capitol Hill. It is the same station that was emptied and boarded up as demonstrators took over the area in the so-called Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or Chaz, as some are calling it. Our Como News cameras, take a look, followed the chief back into the station where she had a chance to inspect the now mostly empty building. Her goal is to reopen the precinct and have officers return to the neighborhood.
Our calls for service have more than tripled. These are responses to emergency calls, rapes, robberies, and all sorts of violent acts that have been occurring in the area that we're not able to get to. So it is not right for us not to be able to deploy our officers here. We owe that service to everybody.
How long do you think Seattle in those few blocks looks like this?
I don't know. We could have the summer of love.
Well, tell that to the police, who is supposed to be in that precinct, though. But I understand your sentiment, Mayor.
All right, now on to solutions. So, first solution we have to address is the one for our children, because they're the most important piece in this. You know, they're the most fragile piece and the most nuanced piece, you know, because we need to bring them on our side, period. These are our children. We are not going to go to war with our children, okay? They're the foot soldiers. They're just a distraction, so we have to actually bring them on board. So with our children are a couple things that we have to address. First, it's their emotional stability, their emotional state, their happiness. Our children aren't happy. They don't know why. There's so much that goes into who we are on the inside, okay? But we have control over most of it. Not all of it, but most of it. The main thing we have control over is the fear that we feel on a daily basis, our anxiety, our depression. You don't have to feel those emotions. Now, say for example, I'll give you a quick example of the situation where I was looking to get a job, a really big job, and I wasn't sure how the interview went, and I was told that I would get a call back the next day, but I didn't end up getting a call back until 5 days later. It was because it was the weekend, and you know, things just progressed a little differently than what I believed. So that weekend, I mean, I was shocked. You know, when I didn't get that call back Friday, I thought I was just shocked. I couldn't bring my emotions up. And that's when the depression and the despair tried to kick in. And so the only thing that I could do is destroy that depression. I couldn't bring happiness to myself because I was just so down and I didn't know what would happen. So I was able to just suppress the depression, suppress the anxiety, and I started watching, you know, TV shows that I like, fun shows that I like, you know, epic fails and things like that, just to keep my mind occupied, But this is a skill, fighting that depression, fighting that anxiety, knowing how to keep it down, you know. But then once you combine it with building your life the way it's supposed to be, then that's when true happiness and joy will really hit you. When you combine it with being around good people, that's when true joy and true happiness hit you. And all that is a part of what we're about to build. You know, we're about to build a lot of systems, a lot of programs for our communities to bring people back together. But our morality means something. It does mean something. Our children have been taught, you can start having sex at 12, 13, it doesn't matter. There's no need to get married. There's no need to be with one person. Our young women get their hearts broken time and time again from middle school all the way up to their of age to get married. And by the time their hearts have been broken so many times, it's very hard for them to give themselves to anyone. So these things really do matter. So we will address those systems. We will address, our culture. Our culture has been deprived in so many ways, but it starts with our emotional state. We have to be able to control it. So that's where the videos come in. Pure power. Check the playlist on this channel. It's on all our channels, but it's called Pure Power. You have to understand who you are on the inside and understand how to address these emotions, Secondly, they want change in our government, which we all want. We've all been fighting to change this thing because the people in control, they don't care about us. And what happened is our children have been deceived by the same people that are looking to destroy us to be convinced that they're the saviors. On the back of your dollar, it says, Nosotros secludum, I believe, which means order out of chaos. They create the chaos and then they bring the order. That's all we're seeing right now. So it's just a situation of we have to take this time to actually fix things in our government. And we've needed to do this for really the last 100 years, but we didn't have what we have today, which is the internet, where we can all come together on a cause together and actually get things done. But with our government, we have been allowing our politicians to just have free reign. They basically, we elect them and we sit back and we just let them do the work. We have no say in what they're doing. That's why we built Community Link. Community Link gives us a way to come together, community by community. You should not be worrying about anything outside of your community, okay? It's beautiful to have great numbers come together, but if you look at what happened in Minneapolis, you can have millions of people descend on the city, but only the residents of that city have the power to move the city council and the mayor, So as a state, we come together to move our government, but our power lies in us individually coming together with the ones closest to us. So that's why we built Community Link. So go and sign that petition and let's start actually affecting our government. There are lots of things that we're about to change within our government, a lot. We're not about to topple it and destroy it. We're just going to refine it, just plug up some holes that our founders didn't see. Our founders didn't foresee millions of people from other nations descending on our country, bringing their cultures and allowing their cultures to infiltrate our government system, because we all don't think alike. There's a reason why America became what it is. We have a different ideology. We value different things in other cultures. Not to say that we're better than any other cultures, but our culture is different, and we don't want to destroy our culture. This is the culture that allows millions of different ethnicities, with hundreds of different ethnicities to come together and to be free and to own their own land and to do what they want to do in their own communities. So take your power, sign a petition for Community Link, and grow yourself. It starts with you. You can't show anyone how to grow themselves and how to find happiness, how to find joy, how to find love, how to find peace of mind unless you find it. So I start with you. You. Not your neighbor, not your brother, not your sister. You. Take your power. And so we'll start there, but there's so much more that we want to do and that we can do and that we will do. This is an amazing time to be alive because we have all the power if we take it. But what's coming down the pipeline, it won't last too long if we don't take it now. So take your power, get strong, and get ready to show these kids that we have a better way. We have a much better way. Let's rise up. Love y'all.
Cause this will probably be the last time that I reach out to mankind. My ship's taking off, and if you wanna go, then scream and die. Cause I got my two angels in the clouds staring down on standby. So if you wanna go, I promise you can go.